What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Restock Media. I'm Tyler, and I'm glad to let you know that we have another fresh unboxing on deck for you today. We're going to be checking out another release from the Yeezy family. This one has roots going all the way back to 2017. And in the 5 years between the original release and the restock just this last weekend, this shoe has consistently been one of the hardest colorways to come by if you aren't willing to pay the reseller tax. I'm of course speaking about the Yeezy V2 350 in that distinguished blue tint. Before we get into the unboxing of this awesome rendition, if you haven't already, consider hitting the subscribe button if you're into everything sneaker related, from new unboxings, classic unboxings, community giveaways, and everything in between. But without any further delay, let's get to it. Well, 2017 seems so long ago. A lot of what we saw in the shoe game back then is not so far from what's coming down the pipeline here and now. 2017 saw a lot of classic 350 releases, from the core blacks to the zebras to the cream whites, the semi-frozen yellows, the belugas that we all know and love. But tucked away in that slew of releases was also the 350 V2 Blue Tint. When this model landed, it quickly set the resale market ablaze. Shoes were rising to $400 or $500 a pair, and they pretty much stayed there for a couple of years. In 2017, Yeezys were all the rage. Raffles were being blown out, countless shoes were being backdoored, and ultimately it was really tough for the average sneakerhead to come across a pair. The supply just wasn't large enough to accommodate all the unsavory characters in the sneakerhead realm. So with all of that, a lot of us didn't land a pair at retail. Some of us may have bit the bullet and found them on the secondary market and paid dearly to be fresh. I personally took the wait and see approach, which, while it was exhausting, it did ultimately pay off. I want to give another shout out to the Confirmed app by Adidas. This is actually my second win in as many tries on 350s this month. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I stack the deck in my favor to get W's instead of L's, drop a comment down below. I'd be glad to whip up a how-to video using my own strategies there. When we get the box in hand, we see that it's the definition of a classic Yeezy box. You have the model right across, 350, you have Boost on the side, and then you have all the sizing information on the other side if you have forgotten. As we pull open the mid portion of the box, we're welcomed by the standard brown tissue paper that wraps all the Yeezys. But as we free the shoe from its paper wrapping, we're welcomed by a freshly minted silhouette in a colorway that's hypnotic and entrancing, but also laced with a touch of nostalgia for those of us that can remember what the 2017 game was like. So here we go. This is a grail for a lot of us, so let's just let it breathe, take it all in. So you'll see that the upper of this rendition comes in a marbled gray prime knit material. For those of you that don't know what prime knit is or haven't touched it, it feels almost like a short-haired carpet or a blanket. Seems like it would pose a little bit of protection for wind or rain. That way it's not just like you're wearing a straight sock shoe. In addition to the marbled upper, you also have the classic gray line all the way down the shoe. And then you see the text SPLY-350 that we've come to associate with this line. I like that they kept the heel tab on this model, not just because the 2017 editions came with it, but shoes are just so much easier to put on and take off when you have the heel tab. The laces are somewhere between white, gray, and blue, depending on what light you're looking at them in. I think they're closer to white personally, but they absorb the gray and the blue tints as you look around. It's actually a small detail, but one thing that jumps out to me is this cuff right here around the mouth of the shoe. The color of it is this ghostly pale blue that, I mean, it catches my eye and holds my attention. And I mean, it's a really nice color splash on what would otherwise be a fairly gray palette. The infamous blue tint really does show up on the midsole and wraps around pretty much the entire kick. And as you turn the shoe over, you see that the boost sole is much more translucent than the midsole, and and that's gonna make this a prime contender for needing some extra sole protection. As we get to the inner lining of the shoe, Adidas and Yeezy have some branding to share with us. First of which being the 3 stripes right here in the back heel, letting you know exactly who the parent company is for these shoes so you don't mistake it. And as we look deeper, you see both the Yeezy and Adidas branding inside as well. I'm gonna say one of the unsung heroes of this shoe is actually these little pieces inside the ankle. They're sewn in pads for, I can only assume, for protection and making your walking that much more comfortable. I appreciate that even more because of all the technology and science that's gone into the Boost sole. Why let it go to waste if your ankles were just gonna be sore or tired after wearing these? Props to the comfort team for thinking about all angles of our foot on this one. So my personal opinion on these shoes as a devoted sneakerhead was that they were an absolute necessary addition to the collection. Me being on the hunt for as long as I was and seeing friends and folks have them and ultimately not being able to drop 2 times retail on a shoe that I really wanted. I knew that the wait for them was going to be exhausting. It was going to take a lot out of me, but with it all said and done, how they fell into my lap, it was all worth it. I'm glad that I took the route that I did. I only landed 1 pair this time around, so I'm not exactly sure what the timeline on undead stocking these babies are, but your shoes were made to be worn, so I do expect these to make an appearance in public sooner rather than later. So there we have it, you guys, our full unboxing of the 2022 Yeezy 350 Blue Tints. I want to thank you for hanging with us till the end of this video. Like, seriously, in a day and age where it's so easy to just click on to the next one, really thank you for sticking with us. And if you took anything at all from this video and you're excited to see what we have on deck for you, feel free to hit the subscribe button, turn on all notifications. That way you won't be left in the dark when we do add new content. Thanks again, and this has been Tyler with Deadstock Media, signing off.